The Himalayas, ancient, imposing, mysteries lie hidden in their snowy peaks. Old stories whisper on the wind, tales of strange creatures, tales of forgotten temples, and tales of restless spirits. One such story clung to the old church of Manali. Locals spoke of it in hushed tones. They said it was haunted. They said a tragedy had happened there long ago. No one dared to go near the church at night, not after the sun went down. The old church stood on a hill overlooking the town. Its windows were dark, the paint was peeling, the iron gate creaked in the wind. It was a place of shadows and silence, a place where the past refused to die. The church was once a place of peace. Now it was filled with an unsettling presence. People told stories of strange noises at night. They heard chanting and screams. Some saw flickering lights in the windows, but no one dared to investigate. The church had a dark history. Locals whispered about a nun who had died there. Some said she was murdered. Others claimed she took her own life. Whatever the truth, her spirit remained, trapped within the church walls, unable to find peace. The air around the church felt heavy. Cold spots sent shivers down your spine. A sense of dread filled anyone who dared to approach. The church of Manali was a place to avoid, a place of fear, a place of sorrow. One evening, a stray dog wandered onto the church grounds. It was a scruffy thing, looking for food and shelter. The dog sniffed at the ground, it wagged its tail. Unaware of the darkness that lingered there, suddenly the dog stopped. Its ears pricked up. It started growling, a low rumble in its throat. The hair on its back stood on end. Something wasn't right. The dog sensed it. The dog backed away, whimpering. It turned and ran, fleeing the unseen danger. It never went near the church again. Animals know things. They feel things we don't. The dog's fear was a warning. A group of college students were staying in Manali. They were on holiday, eager to explore. They'd heard the stories about the haunted church. Of course, they didn't believe them. They were young. They were curious. They were also foolish. One night, the students decided to sneak out. They wanted to see the church for themselves. They wanted to prove the stories were just stories. They thought it would be a bit of fun. The students set off into the night. They giggled and whispered, their excitement growing. They didn't realize the danger they were in. They were about to become part of the church's story. Section 5. Shadows and Whispers. The students reached the church. It stood silently against the dark sky. The air was cold. The wind howled through the trees. The students fell silent. The atmosphere was unnerving. They pushed open the creaking gate. The sound echoed in the stillness. They stepped onto the overgrown path. Each step felt heavier than the last. They were walking towards something unknown. As they approached the church, they heard a noise. A soft whisper carried on the wind. They stopped, listening intently. The whisper came again. It seemed to be coming from inside the church. Section 6. The nun's wrath. The students hesitated. Should they turn back? Curiosity got the better of them. They cautiously approached the church door. It was slightly ajar. They could see flickering candlelight inside. They pushed the door open. The hinges groaned. The students stepped inside. The air inside was heavy and cold. It smelled of damp and decay. The flickering candles cast long shadows on the walls. Suddenly the candles went out. The students were plunged into darkness. They heard a gasp. Then, a blood-curdling scream. One of the students was thrown back against the wall. Something was in the church with them. Section 7. Confronting the darkness. Panic seized the students. They stumbled back. They could hear heavy breathing in the darkness. Something was moving towards them. They could feel its cold presence. One of the students, a boy named Raj, found his voice. He pulled out his phone. The screen illuminated the space around them. In the flickering light, they saw her, a figure in a nun's habit. Her face was pale and gaunt. Her eyes glowed red. The nun drifted towards them. Her voice was a chilling whisper. She spoke of betrayal, of pain, of vengeance. She was the restless spirit of the church. and she would not rest until justice was served. Section 8. The Vanishing Church. Just when the students thought all hope was lost, a new voice cut through the darkness. It was a voice of authority, a voice of faith. It was the voice of the local priest. The priest had sensed the disturbance at the church. He had come to confront the evil he knew resided there. He carried a crucifix and holy water. He began to pray, his voice strong and steady. The nun shrieked. She recoiled from the priest's words. The church began to shake. Dust fell from the ceiling. The air crackled with energy. The priest continued to pray, his faith unwavering. Section 9. Epilogue. Peace at last. With a final blinding flash, the church was empty. The nun was gone. The students were safe. The priest had banished the evil that haunted the church. He had brought peace to the restless spirit. The next morning, the students returned to the church, or at least where the church should have been. It was gone, vanished without a trace. The only evidence of its existence was the overgrown path leading to the top of the hill. The church of Manali was no more. The haunting was over. The town was free from the curse. The students never forgot their encounter with the supernatural, and they learned a valuable lesson that night. Some stories are best left untold.